Welcome to Quack Co, the board game channel where every video is 10 minutes or less guaranteed. And today we're bringing you a first look at Astra, a brand new game from Mindclash Play, which is a brand new subsidiary company.
They go straight to retail.
Adjacent publishing arm of Mindclash, the big box behemoth Euro-style game company that you all are familiar with because Shira and I absolutely adore Cerebria. I'm a giant fan of Anachrony. We both still need to play Tricarion.
Yep.
And you just finished reading the rules for
Perseverance.
Well, like a month ago, and we still haven't got it to the table yet. That's because they're big, and they're also great.
Yeah.
They're also great.
You forgot Septima.
Septima's lovely. Septima's fleet, but they don't know Septima's lovely. They haven't played it yet. Yeah, Mindclash does some crazy things, and now they're going small box to retail with their first game in this genre,
Yeah,
I think,
would think.
called Astra. This is a really interesting stargazing adventure.
And it's not a roll and write, and it's not a flip and write, but it has writing involved. I don't know it's...
It's in that genre.
Yes, it's in the
this
roll and write, flip
genre
and write
is so complicated to talk about. Because I just want to say it's a roll and write.
Yes.
It's not.
There's no dice.
It's a flip and write.
But you don't flip cards.
You do kind of flip cards in a way, though.
Yes. So it's cards and writing. This is a game where you are an astronomer and you are discovering constellations in the starry night sky. You are going to be spending your resource, which is Stardust, to mark off the stars on a constellation, both hoping to get the boons at the bottom if you've contributed to it, and if you've completed the constellation, you get the card and the special power and ability itself.
Now, in a lot of ways, this game is kind of Eurofied. It's resource management with the gems or the Stardust that you have. It's powers and abilities, tableau building as you start selecting and gaining those cards, and they do pair together in a really interesting way. It's endgame victory point. Yes. It's kind of point salad in a way.
Asymmetric endgame victory points based on the cards that you have.
If you're able to squeeze things together, but then it's got this twist. It has this open marketplace where cards will continue being cycled in and out. Some will be discarded from the pile, driving endgame, and new cards will pop out here onto the timeline as other ones clear after they've been fully filled in, and you all will be collectively or cooperatively working together to finish, claim, or get the side bonus of the card. Go ahead and let's talk about what your turn looks like, what the options you have.
So on your turn, you can use, if you have any powers and ability cards in your tableau already, you have the opportunity to use them.
There's also a gameplay over on Quackalope unless you're interested in checking out the whole thing. We're going to be breaking it down very quickly because this is the first look, but like, we play it.
Then during your action phase, you get to choose two actions. You can either rest, which is replenishing your Stardust supply, or you can take the more common action, which is spending the Stardust to fill in stars. There are rules of how you fill in the stars, but we'll go into that more on the Quackalope video. After that, if a card has been fully filled in, there is the Discover phase, where you are going to look at who contributed to that card. They are going to have an opportunity to pick from the boons at the bottom, which is basically rewards for contributing. You are then going to take that card and put it in your tableau, and it is now active for you to use the next round that you would like to use. You're going to be paying attention to this top corner where there are symbols. This game is about set collection. On the back of your final scoring card, you are going to be trying to collect either all of the same types of symbols or different types of symbols to score the most amounts of points.
Now, a lot of the different boons that you can get will also score you points at the end of the game. Really, everything you do needs to be done as efficiently as possible. The bag that you use to refresh your Stardust scores you points. The wisdom that you have that translates into how many cards you can have in your tableau scores you points. The cards that you have, not only the icon, but also if their ability has not been used by the time you get to endgame scoring, and you can refresh them, so don't worry about that, they score you points. The gems you have left over score you points.
Any unmarked, any stars, any constellations that have not been completed yet, you get points per how many stars you've marked off in the total ones that are still on the rondel.
And so Astra has a really unique ebb and flow. It's about using the resource that you have in a very specific and limited way, but you do so in a constantly shifting puzzle. What abilities do you want? What cards do you want to be part of? Well, all of them, I suppose. But what cards do you want to be part of that you close off yourself, claiming the card for your own tableau? Or what benefits do you want around the bottom corner just by being involved?
There's also a lot of take that in this game where you are selectively choosing which stars to mark off, preventing your opponents from finishing that star.
I, for instance, here on the Ram, could go ahead and be very nice and mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, getting 2 wisdom and helping me progress. But the very next player would be able to
mark that single last star and take the card themselves,
which
and you would only
could
get
be
a boon.
great, because for me, it would give me a boon, but maybe I want that ability. If so, I could be a real jerk and just mark 3 of them, leaving 2 disparate sections that will require 2 more active people to be involved in that star for it to ever close. However, there's also things like telescopes or special abilities that let you start manipulating those rules. Telescopes let you go again on another card or the same card, spending the limited resource of Stardust you have. Some of the cards that you have abilities like refreshing without going above your maximum Stardust, gaining telescopes or wisdom just off of a generic ploy, or
marking stars on various different cards, like one on 3 different cards, one on 2 different cards, or marking one not following the rules of actual star marking.
So they start twisting the puzzle. There's been moments, as we've gotten more and more familiar with this game, where some players, not going to point fingers, have taken turns that have been absolutely insane.
Oh, then me.
Closing off
I'll
like
take that finger.
3 cards at the same time.
Oh, that was epic. Using powers and abilities is so much fun. Once you get your tableau built up and everything is meshing with each other and you have them all active, we should talk about how we active the cards. This is going to be every single time someone rests, this is going to be ticking around the track, and it's also going to be getting closer to triggering endgame, because every time you pass over this border, you are discarding a card. Based on the player count is where this end card fits into the deck. Additionally, wherever it is when you take your rest action, if you have any cards of that symbol, you get to refresh those cards, and then it moves on to the next symbol. So it's also a mind game, because you know what cards you want to refresh, you know what cards your opponents want to refresh, and you can trigger that at most unopportune times.
It's an interesting puzzle. All right, with the last few minutes that we have, high and low, best thing, worst thing. Where are you sitting for this? For the people that are trying to discern whether or not this is one they want to pick up.
The low for me, I'm going to start with the low. The low for me is having to deal with seating placement at the table. Based on where you are seated with the player counts, sometimes it felt like the person to my left was always setting up a card for the person to my right to finish it and never got back to me to actually finish up a card.
Yeah, but in the first game we played, that was exactly how I felt as well. However, I haven't seen that translate into a scoring disparity.
Correct, I have not.
It just does feel...
Yeah, it balanced out at the end of the game when I got my powers and abilities up and running, and this track eventually catches up to you. You can't hold more cards than you can. The best part about it is pulling off those awesome moves where you can close down and have epic rounds.
More and more of these cards start connecting in interesting ways the more you play this game. The first round, they don't really seem as powerful as you might assume. It's when you have a combination of 3 or 4 of them and you can trigger them all in unison that you can have really, really powerful turns. They're a little underwhelming, but the combination or the puzzle piece is really great. It's actually going to be one of my points. However, I will do different things. So, best and worst for me. The worst for me is that everything feels really, really well balanced.
Okay.
And I mean that. The scores that we've played through so far have all been very tight. Everything you do is leading to endgame victory points. It's Eurified in a way that I don't always love games like this to be. I sometimes like crazy things like a perfect dice roll to throw the puzzle off in my favor. I kind of like dealing with hardships and feeling like I've overcome something really powerful. Astra is a really, really well-balanced game. It's closer to a Euro in terms of the theme pasted over a really solid set of mathematical mechanics.
Which Mindclash
excels at. But for me, nothing feels overwhelmingly powerful until you build out your tableau. Now, the positive for me, the best for me, I think it's doing something really unique in the roll and write genre, the roll and write space. It's got a cooperative, collaborative element into the center board here, while it's still very take that and very cutthroat in terms of what you're actually grabbing and taking. It doesn't interact in this genre in a way that I've seen another game do. A lot of them are your own solo puzzles, whereas this, I was very invested in what everyone else was doing around the table, and that's not something that I oftentimes see in this genre or this family. And so I think it actually has a really unique home. And then finally, the artwork's beautiful, and every one of the constellations actually exists. So it's a great opportunity to teach, learn, and share the beauty of the night sky. And with that, this has been a first look from Quack Co. Thank you for joining us. Remember,
less time watching
means more time playing.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.